Hey, good morning from the office. North Georgia's only live online morning show. We had a little technical difficulty. It's 8:11 this morning. You have to stay with it, Lonnie. That's what the mistake we make. Is just not staying with it. You follow what I'm saying?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I've stayed with you this long. How much longer do I have to
No,
stay?
I'm saying you got to stay with the stream key that we put on there. We're 12 minutes late. We hope you're still with us. Lonnie, go to all the Facebook pages and tell everybody that we're up, okay? Put it out there, put it out on Twitter, whatever we got to do. Tell everybody that we're up and running, okay?
Copy.
And thank you very much out there. Sorry about the delay this morning. We are running live now, fetchyournews.com. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show.
You ever get the feeling that computers just don't like us?
I prefer you not ask me that question today. Because I think there's a long list that don't like, put it out there, put it out. I think there's a long list. Hey, you know, why don't you fix also the screen? You know, I think people.
You're the one that likes your hair so much. I'm just trying to let the people at home have the same experience.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to make sure that all our viewers learn to like your hair as much as you like your hair.
All right. Hey, folks, good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I'm BKP. Talk to your friends, get them back online, tell them to get on the show. I was at the Board of Education in Fannin County for 3 hours last night. Three hours, actually 4 hours. Went in there and set up. Citizens, a couple thousand. So if people are reporting things this morning, a couple thousand people were there last night talking about transgender bathrooms. Now, first and foremost, let's go over a couple things. Okay, the U.S. directs public schools to allow transgender access to restrooms. All right? Something is wrong with the timing on this, folks. Something's wrong with the timing. Now, let me say it like this, okay? The issue in North Carolina, the issue in Fannin County, something's wrong with the timing. I just want to highlight to you that if President Obama, now this we can't solve in just a couple minutes. If President Obama did as much or spent as much time trying to do things for the black community as he did the LGBT. Now, I'm going to say something, and I don't want this misunderstood, okay? Because I'm not saying the president is anything whatsoever, but he's supposed to be the first black president. And if you look at what's gone on in this country concerning blacks, racial divide, racial tension, racial divide, there's nothing any better. Things are not better for the black community in Ferguson, in Baltimore, in Miami, in Dallas, in Atlanta, in Newark, New Jersey, in New York City, Detroit, St. Louis, the list goes on, LA. There's nothing any better for the black community. Nothing. They have your vote. It's done. It's over with. You would think he was the first gay president. Now, I did not call him gay. I do not want to hear you say, well, you just called the President of the United States gay. No, I did not. As a wife and 2 children, I don't know anything there. But according to the direction he has gone in his 8 years, according to the agenda that seems to be the most important to him, the LGBT community, you would think that this president was gay. Now, the U.S. districts public schools to allow, U.S. directs public schools to allow transgender access to restrooms. The Obama administration is planning to issue a sweeping directive telling every public school district in the country to allow transgender students to use the bathroom that match their gender identity. That, you got to sink that in, that matches their gender identity. A letter to school districts will go out Friday, today, adding to a highly charged debate over transgender rights in the middle of the administration's legal fight with North Carolina over the issue. Now let's stop there. At least North Carolina knew. At least North Carolina knew to get out in front of this. They knew it. Folks, it is time to have a battle in this country over state rights. And I know what you think I just said. I'm asking for a peaceful battle. Now, I'm going to say 2,000. We'll use 2,000 people attended Fannin County school system last night. There was an overflow set up in their gymnasium. Maybe it wasn't 2,000, maybe 1,500. We're going to use 2,000. Maybe 2,000 were there and they used the overflow in the gymnasium where they broadcast the public speakers for 3 hours. Folks, you have tried the battle at the ballot box. You tried that. Vote them out, they say. Vote them in. Go from Democrat to Republican. I'm telling you, folks, I was in the room last night. People are fed up. Now, you're going to hear all of these talk show hosts today all over the United States of America try to tell you what they think they hear and what they think they know. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to bet that I'm the only person that's coming to you live this morning that sat there with the camera 30 feet away from every speaker last night. Anthony Walden spoke for about 15 minutes. One after another came up, said it was wrong. One after another came up, said they want the same privacy protections for their children. They want their children to have their own bathroom. And they demand it gets provided for them. One after another said they would pull their kids out of the school. Folks, I think they're serious. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the county attorney, Lynn Doss, said last night was 100% wrong. But she's part of the problem. And let me explain. She's part of the problem. How do you figure that? Well, she's going to say this morning, and the school administration is going to say this morning, is if you find out what this is going to cost you in lawsuits from the federal government. Now, I'm not going to say the people of Fannin County are rich. When you see the video, I've got the 3-hour video uploading now to YouTube. You go to fetchernews.com, you're going to find a 3-hour video, uncut. This weekend, I will spend all weekend cutting each individual speaker out. But it's 3 hours of citizens, one right after another to the podium. Go to Fetch Your News Pritchard, YouTube. Fetch Your News Pritchard. You will find our YouTube channel. Folks, 3 hours. Now, these people aren't rich that came to the podium last night. They're not loaded with money, but they are the taxpayers. Now, I'm going to get into that a little later. Now, I've got this morning coming in, and Lonnie, we have to watch the door, make sure it's open. I've got Andrew Lohman. You're going to want to stay with me all the way to 10 o'clock, folks. I got Andrew Lohman coming in at 8:30 this morning. I've got, don't listen to Lonnie, folks. Listen to me. I got Andrew Lohman coming in here at 8:30 this morning. He's a candidate for probate judge in Gilmer County. And then at 9 o'clock, I've got Sam Snyder coming in here at 9 o'clock. He is a candidate for 7th District State House. And so we've got a couple guests, but you're going to want to stay all the way through because we're going to stay with this same story all the way to the end of the show. Now, folks, the Supreme Court said they legalized same-sex marriage. Okay? And the LGBT community took that and the president as including everything. Everything. You have every right that goes with that now. Every right. And they're hanging on Title 10. Now today, because North Carolina had the forethought to say, hey, you know what? We've got to do something about this out front because of the city of Charlotte. A letter to school districts will go out Friday, adding to a highly charged debate over transgender rights in the middle of the administration's legal fight with North Carolina over the issue. The declaration signed by the Justice and Education Department officials will describe that schools should do. It will describe what schools should do to ensure that none of their students are discriminated against. None of their students. Now, parents last night said, if you're going to let a little boy go in a little girl's room, if you're going to let a little girl go in a little boy's room, I'm going to tell you what was not answered last night. I'm going to tell you the question that nobody answered last night at this Board of Education. Nobody answered this question. But what they're saying is discriminate against. Now, parents last night said, look, if you're going to let a little boy go into the little girl's room, you go tomorrow and you send my son to the teacher's lounge, or you send my daughter to a private bathroom and guarantee their right that nobody walks in on them. Guarantee it to us parents. You see, that's who needs to be in charge, folks, the parents. We'll describe what schools should do to ensure that none of their students are discriminated against. It does not have the force of law, but it contains a threat. I'm sorry. Whew, I didn't go to bed till about 1:45 this morning. I cannot get that out to save my life.
Implication.
I'll work with that, Lonnie. I'll go with that. I'll tell you, I went to bed about 1:45. Schools that do not abide by Obama administration's interpretation of the law could face lawsuits or loss of federal aid. The move is certain to draw fresh criticism, particularly from Republicans, that the federal government is wading into local matters. Now, if it's in local matters, and this is what we're going to discuss later today, folks. We're going to get into this. If it's in local matters, why did David Ralston, Steve Gooch, the governor of Georgia, take this on? See, I'm going to tell you a couple things they did not answer last night. County attorney got up and told you to call your governor. I think that was a joke. Actually, I think county attorney, I would not have said that last night. Lynn Doss, knowing good and well that the governor of Georgia just vetoed the religious liberty bill, knowing good and well all you need right now is Delta and Home Depot and all the big corporations to tell the governor he cannot sign a bathroom bill. Why you even ask people to call Governor Nathan Deal, I do not know. The move is certain to draw fresh criticism, particularly from Republicans, that the federal government is wading into local matters and imposing its own values on communities across the country that may not agree. They don't agree, folks. They don't agree. You do not worry about, do not try to go another minute and try to figure out why Donald Trump's resonating in this country. They don't agree, okay? It represents the latest example of the Obama administration using a combination of policies, lawsuits, and public statements to change the civil rights landscape for gays, lesbians, bisexual, and transgender people. Not black. Oh, no, not black. First black president, not black. This story is not how Obama came out today and signed an executive order, saying that you have to hire 4 new black males. Not that I would agree with that. It's not that the president came out today and said that, white unemployment and black unemployment had to balance equally. Not that I would agree with that. It has nothing to do with black as the first black president. The landscape for gays, lesbians, bisexual, and transgender people. Something don't add up here, folks. After supporting the rights of gay people to marry, allowing them to serve openly in the military, the social experiment we're working on today, and prohibiting federal contractors from discriminating against them, the administration is wading into the battle over bathrooms and siding with transgender people. No student should ever have to go through the experience of feeling unwelcome at school or on college campus. No student. No student. No student. Forget the majority. Forget that there's 3,000 kids in Fannin County School. Forget that there's only 2. 2. I hear 3,000 kids. That means 2,998 want to go into the bathroom of the gender on their birth certificate. Forget all that. No. 2 children. Let me tell you what was not, before I finish this article, answered last night. And I'm sorry, let me go back. First of all, I should have opened the show with this. I told Mark Henson, the superintendent of schools, and I'm going to tell you straight up exactly what I said. I told Mark Henson, the superintendent of schools, the day this came about, that A, I love him very much, I consider him a friend, and I support him. I went home last night and I walked up to Mark Henson after 3 hours that he heard the public. The man told me this is probably the roughest time he's ever had in his administration as superintendent of schools in Fannin County. He'd never been through anything like this. And I walked up to him before I went home and I looked at him and I said, Mark, I love you. You're my friend and I support you. And I do, folks, I do. I will look at anybody. I looked at administrators yesterday and I told them, don't you ever, ever fall for anybody tell you that FetYourNews.com does not support teachers. Do not fall for that. This is not about teaching, folks. Are you not understanding what in the world we've put our teachers in the middle of? Could you see a teacher standing at the front of the chalkboard? Now, I'm old, right? So to me, it's a chalkboard. I know they got pads and they got fancy computer screens on the wall now, and they highlight that. I understand that. To me, it's a chalkboard. So let's go back. Could you see the teacher? Now, I'm not so old I don't remember raising my hand and telling the teacher I had to go to the bathroom. And I'm not so old that I remember Miss Middleton saying, can you not wait for the rest of the class? And I'm not so old that I don't remember going up to the desk of the teacher and whispering and saying, no, Miss Middleton, I can't wait. I need to go. And I remember her saying, go on to the bathroom and not even having to think twice whether she could continue her English, math, whatever lesson she was working on, because she was concerned or had to walk me down the hall to let me go to a bathroom that I identified with. Now, I know, God forbid, that I'm so old that that is just, my God, look at how backwards I am. But now we got teachers this morning all across this nation Folks, have you looked at the statistics that we can't keep teachers? Have you looked? Have you looked at the statistics that they will not get into the field of teaching? They're running away from it. They're leaving it. Have you looked? Teacher retention, it's just something you need to look into. And you've got teachers this morning that are trying to do an English lesson at the front of the class. And little Barbara that thinks now that she's Bobby, or he's Bobby, or whatever the hell they are, says, I've got to go to the bathroom. Teacher has to completely stop and focus on something that has nothing to do with teaching this morning. Nothing. No student should ever go through the experience of feeling unwelcomed at school or on college campuses. John B. King Jr., the Secretary of the Department of Education, I knew we would get to it. I knew it. See, the bathroom has nothing to do with education. John B. King Jr., the Secretary of the Department of Education, said in a statement, we must ensure that our young people know that whoever they are, oh my God, how do you read this stuff? How do you go through the day? Whoever you are. And you walk up to somebody in Walmart and say, who the hell are you? Whoever you are, or wherever they come from. They have the opportunity to get a great education. Folks, this is not about education. In an environment free from discrimination, harassment. Let me read that in the Kumbaya, the way they want you to read this. Here's how they want you to read this. This is the statement. No student should ever go through the experience of feeling unwelcomed at the school or college campus. John B. King Jr., the Secretary of the Department of Education, said in a statement, we must ensure that our young people know that whoever they are or whatever they come from, they have the opportunity to get a great education in an environment free from discrimination, harassment, and violence. Now, folks, I've got to go to my guest that's coming there. We're going to get a guest in here. But I'm telling you right now, Department of Education. We need to end the Department of Education. Where were the elected officials? Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to go all the way around. But I've sat through this election and I heard that we had to raise taxes. And I heard we had to do a transportation bill. Think about it, folks. We had to do a transportation bill. And I had, sitting right here in this office, I had elected officials say, but we had to deal with the crisis. And folks, I've got the video. How many elected officials told you, what if a school bus was going over a bridge and it collapsed? A busload of kids. We have a crisis. We needed to raise your taxes so we could build highways. Folks, you better look at your elected officials before you go vote tomorrow, Saturday, or Tuesday. And you better look at them and think about if they understand what a true crisis is in this country and what should have been a priority down there under the Gold Dome like North Carolina, protecting our children. Because what I seen last night is, you know what? They voted in the Republicans. They voted the Republicans in the Senate. They voted the Republicans in the House of Representatives. They didn't vote them in to slow down Obama and his agenda. They didn't do that. They didn't tell Obama and his agenda, we want you to slow down. They voted the Republicans in to stop Obama. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something right now. The American people voted the Republicans in the House and the Senate to stop Obama, not slow him down. The people, the citizens of Georgia, voted in Republicans in the House and Senate down under the Gold Dome and the governor to stand up to Washington, D.C., and stand up for the state and stand up for the people of Georgia. And the county commissioners The citizens in your county voted you as county commissioners to push back on the state. You see, the local people voted the local government in to push back on the state. The citizens of the state voted the people in to push back on the government. And the people of the United States of America voted the House of Representatives and the Senate in to stop Obama, not slow him down. And the battle is on. I seen it last night. It's not going to stop in this country. The battle is on. The silent majority came out. I seen people for 3 hours that I never thought would go to a microphone and talk say enough's enough. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. When we come back, we'll have Andrew Lohman in here. Andrew is a candidate for Gilmer County probate judge. We'll have him in here for about 15 minutes. Let him tell you why he would like to be elected to that office. And then at 9:05, we're going to have Sam Snyder in here. He's a candidate for 7th District, House race, 7th District. So, Lonnie, take a break here, and we'll be back after these brief messages.
Where do you work at? Oh, okay, you work with. I'm right in front of that big fat yellow house.
Hey, Josh Teague's interview got 44 views. Okay, are we back? Yeah. Okay, folks, that was Fannin County yesterday, pouring the rain. Right before the march was supposed to start at 5 o'clock, at 4:30, it started pouring the rain, a downpour. But the people did come out, and that minute video is the march in Fannin County. Members of church members, everybody came out. I mean, everybody was packed. They walked down the street. They marched together in solidarity up to the school to voice their concerns about transgender bathroom. I'm going to get Sam Snyder in here. He's a candidate for 7th District. I just wanted 3 more minutes, and then we're going to take another brief break and get him in here. But let me just say this. Okay, first of all, the video of 3 hours of citizens. Now, I'm not knocking news sources out there, but you know, Fox 5 and Channel 2 and all of them, they're going to go back and they're going to cut sensational parts, and they're going to cut passionate words, and they're going to cut things for the best viewership and the best excitement they can create. We are uploading now. It should be on by the time the show's over. 3 hours, uncut, unedited, of all of the citizens' comments. Now, you probably won't want to watch all 3 hours at one time, but you should. You should take the time to go and listen to the students. 2 things I want to say. Mr. Bearden of the school board said he would not go home until everybody that wanted to speak had an opportunity. Usually public comments for the Board of Education are limited to 30 minutes. They gave 3 hours. And he made sure that people in the gymnasium, I want to give some credit here on some things. There was maybe 1,000 people in the cafeteria, but there was that many, if not more, in the gymnasium that they were playing a simulcast over in the gymnasium for people to watch. Mr. Bearden said, go to the gymnasium and tell them they are welcome to come over and speak. That was awesome. That meant a lot to me that he opened that up, not just at the cafeteria. If you were there last night and you wanted to say something, they gave you a chance. And we have the uncut version of 3 hours. You should listen to the students that came forward, that spoke. You should listen to every one of them. It was great. That will be up on fetchyournews.com and on our YouTube page. 2 things I want to bring up that were not answered by the county attorney last night. One, if you left there last night, you would think maybe this was happening in the high school. Okay? Now, this is something we can't put enough time into. You would think this was happening in the high school. Sources tell us this is in the 2nd grade. Now, I am going to have a hard time believing a 2nd grader is really having an identity problem. I'm going to have a hard time with that. But we're understanding this is happening in the 2nd, 4th, or 5th grade. Okay, a gentleman got up and spoke last night, Mr. Fletcher, and he said that studies show that children, now this won't get reported on the mainstream media, but children that seem to be concerned with their identity in grade school, that show an identity issue in grade school, 98% of them return to their biological identity by time high school comes. Okay, so now I'm just an old guy. So when we showed up at the baseball field and there was 9 of us guys and 2 girls showed up because they thought they could play baseball, I hope I don't get thrown off the air at the end of my show for this. We call them tomboys. Now, I know I just got everybody all upset, okay? But I'm going to tell you what. There's a couple times where those tomboys around the 4th and 5th grade, by the time they got in the 11th and 12th grade, things were not the same. Okay, I don't know. I just said something maybe I shouldn't have. But let me tell you what did not get answered yesterday. How long has this been going on? How long has this been kept a secret from the public? Have the teachers been forced to support this against their will? Rumors say that. Mark Henson said it hasn't happened. Okay, but how long has it gone on? Were they trying to keep it quiet? Were some people trying to keep it quiet? Why didn't the county attorney call down to the house of the state house and say, hey, we need a law like North Carolina. We got a problem in our bathrooms. We do have the Speaker of the House. See, there's a lot of questions they did not answer. And let me tell you the biggest question they did not answer the public. See, the public came out and said, stop it and stop it today. And the public came out and said, it's not a matter of the money. And the public came out and said, if you will stand, we will stand by you. Yes, sir. They said, see, that's not going to get reported. The public said, if you will stand, we will stand by you. I heard it for 3 hours. We will find a way to get the money. We will stand up to the government with you. If you do not, we will put new people in place. We will put a new board in place over and over. We will put a new superintendent. We will put a new county attorney. Board of Education attorney in place. But we will stand with you if you make the tough decision. My question today in Fannin County Schools, will you listen to the people, the thousands that came out, that overwhelmingly, yes, there were some transgender people that stood up and spoke. Yes, there were some gay and lesbian people that stood up and spoke. Yes, they were there. But just like, hey, 3,000 kids to 2? Folks, will they take that child to a teacher's lounge bathroom this morning, or will they take that child to a bathroom of the gender identity they choose? Will they listen to the people today? That'll be the question. Hey, I've got to go. I'm getting deep into this. I'm going to have about 40 minutes with Sam Snyder. He's a candidate for Georgia House of Representative, District 7. So we'll take a brief break. I didn't mean to go long, but we're going to have him in here for about 40 minutes, right up to 10 o'clock. So, folks, when we come back from this commercial, get everybody, tell them to tune in to fetchyournews.com and check out this next interview with Sam Snyder. Lonnie, take us to break.